Well, with that, so recording announcement at the beginning of the meeting. I would like to inform everyone that Sean Driscoll, the authority's communications director, is making an audio recording of today's meeting. Is there anyone else making an audio recording of today's meeting? If so, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon, or if you're on the phone, *9 on the keypad, and when you are recognized, please state your name for the record.
Don't see anybody.
All right. Statement concerning remote participation pursuant to Chapter 20 of Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, and in line with social distancing guidelines followed during the COVID-19 pandemic, all Port Council members are participating remotely in today's meeting because their physical attendances today would be unreasonably difficult. All Port Council members are participating the meeting by Zoom video conferencing app, and all members will be clearly audible to each other. As a result of members' remote participation in the meeting, any and all votes will be taken by roll call vote. Morning, everybody.
Morning again.
Beautiful, crisp fall morning.
Yep.
Hope
Seasonal.
everyone's- So, let's kick this thing off. I gotta go on to the other agenda. Thanks, Sean, for helping me with diligent.
No problem.
So, Bob, what's the minutes?
Next item would be the minutes of the October 6th, 2021 meeting.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
All right, any discussion? I'll take a roll call vote.
Lowell, I.
Salito, aye.
Shufelt, aye.
Here, I.
Cahill, aye.
Washburn, aye. All right, business summary, Bob.
All right, well, as Mark is coming up to present, point out who's in the room here. So in addition to Sean Driscoll, who you heard earlier, we have Mark Rosem, Mark Amundson, Angela Campbell, Terrence Keneally, Janice Kenefick, Allison Fletcher, Angela Sampson, and Bill Cludier.
John, is that a real background?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say, because you guys were talking about Sebago Lake. I was like, wow. It's balmy on the lake.
September.
Yeah. You never can tell.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, for the
Morning, Mark.
business summary for the
Morning,
month of September, morning. For the month of September, looking on the Vineyard route, passengers were down compared to 2019, just over 16,000 or 6.4%. On the Nantucket run, they were down just over 1,700 or 2.6%. And combined for both runs, they were down 5.6% or just under 18,000. For budgeting purposes, we forecasted a decrease of 10%. So we were a little bit ahead of budget on passengers for the month of September. Year to date on the Vineyard route, we're off 251,000 passengers or 12.6%. On the Nantucket run, just under 52,000 or 11.2%. And both routes combined year to date, we're off just under 303,000 or 12.4% compared to 2019. And that's what the budget was based on. Here's a chart showing by month how the passenger numbers stack up for the 2020, 2021 and the budget. Automobiles carried for the month of September. Comparing these versus 2019. And again, it's we used the budget for the 12 months previous to COVID. So on the Vineyard route, we saw an increase of 3,200 cars or 7.5%, mostly in the standard fare automobiles. On the Nantucket route, we saw an increase of 13.4% or just under 1,000 cars. And again, mostly on the standard fare vehicles. And both islands combined for the month of September, we saw an increase of 8.4% or just over 4,200 cars. Year to date for the Vineyard route, we're up about just under 6,800 cars or 2.1%. And again, it's on the standard fare automobiles. It's the same with Nantucket. We're up about 5,000 cars or 9.8%. And both routes combined are up just under 12,000 or 3.1%.
Mark, but when you say the car total, that's compared to 2020 on that number,
No, that's,
though, right?
that's the 12 months prior to COVID. So that's all of 2019 with the exception of January and February of 2020. So we used the 12 months rolling back from February of 2020 all the way through March of 2019. So that's what that comparison is. And that's what the budget was based on.
Okay, I see that year-to-date thing. I just, okay.
Yeah. And that's where it says the /2020/2019 difference.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
And here's comparison showing how we matched up for 2020, 2021 and the budget.
Hmm.
Okay, for trucks carried on the Vineyard route, we're up 4.5% or 559 trucks. On the Nantucket route, we're almost flat, up just under 1% or 39 trucks. In total trucks combined for both routes, we're up just under 600 or 3.5%. Year to date, the Vineyard route's up just over 200 trucks or 0.2%. Nantucket route's down just under 900 trucks or 2.1%. In both routes combined, I'm looking at a decrease of about 627 trucks or 0.4%. Again, here's a chart comparing 2020, 2021 in the budget. Cars parked on the Vineyard route, we were off just over 1,300 cars or 8.4%. On the Nantucket route, we're off 330 cars or 6.7%. In both routes combined, we're off just under 1,700 cars or 8%. And for budgeting purposes, we budgeted around 10% decrease from the year before. Year to date, looking at the Vineyard route, we're off about 15,000 cars. On the Nantucket route, just under 2,900 cars. Both routes combined, just under 18,000 cars or 11.2%. Here's a graph showing cars parked. Trip summary report for the month of September. We have on the Vineyard route, we had 5 trips canceled for mechanical, none for weather. On the Nantucket route, we had 6 trips canceled for mechanical, 6 for weather. Year to date, both routes combined, looking at 65 trips canceled for mechanical, 280 for weather, and 389 for traffic. And most of that was in the first quarter of the year during COVID. Okay, now we get into the financials. We had operating revenue for the month of September of $14,369,000, which was higher than budget by $445,000. We had other income of $475,000, which was lower than budget by $1,524,000. And that's mainly timing of a grant of about $1.6 million, which we expect to receive later on. Operating expenses of $10,140,000 was higher than budget by $138,000. We had other income deductions of $317,000, which was lower than budget by just about $2,000. And putting this all together for the month of September, we have a net operating income of $4,387,000, which was lower than budget by about $1.2 million. Year to date, operating revenues of $103 million, which is higher
Mark,
than budget.
looks like John has a question.
Okay, sorry.
Actually, Mark, on this slide, just going to the second bullet on September, what was the grant for $1.2 million?
That's part of the 5307 funds we have with the agreement with the Cape Cod RTA.
Okay, and then one, if I may, one other follow-up. Going back, can you go back to the slide with the trucks that were carried in the month of September?
Sure.
I'm just curious, 20 feet and over for the month, there was 650 trucks for the month?
That could be something as simple as the way the calendar matches up, where you have more weekdays or first weekends.
Say
Yeah,
that
the
again.
variance. The variance could be in the month of 2020, we could have more weekdays in 2021 versus the calendar in 2019. So one weekday that could, or 2 weekdays that could make that difference up.
And then just, I just want to point out, am I correct? If I take that number 650 and divide it by 30 days in the month, we're talking about 20 trucks a day over 20 feet?
About 22 trucks a day, 11 round trips.
Got it.
And that's the variance, yes.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Hey, Mark, just following up on that grant, and does that mean that there'll be that the income associated with that grant in October or November? In other words, will that delta be made up?
Yeah, we're working with the RTA on the timing on that one. Last year, we actually realized it before we had it on the budget. During COVID, we were able to accelerate it, and this year it's just a matter of timing it and getting our paperwork ready and making sure that they have the funds available to disperse at the same time.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, operating revenues. Operating revenues, as mentioned previously, for the month, we're up 445,000. You're looking at automobile revenue up 17,000, freight revenue up 231,000, and passenger revenue was up 229,000. For the year to date, looking at automobile revenue up 981,000, freight revenue up 1.5 million, and passenger revenue down 640,000. Year to date, looking at total revenue up about 2.8 million or 1.7% versus budget. Here's a breakdown of where all the revenue is being generated from, both for the month and for the year to date. Operating expenses for the month of September are up 138,000 or 1.4% versus the budget. Looking at maintenance expense up about 175,000 and vessel operations up 95,000. And we had fuel expenses for the month of September, we're up 82,000 or 13.6% versus budget. You look at the price per gallon, we budgeted $1.81 and they came in about $1.99, including net hedges. Year to date, operating expenses are off below budget by $1 million, mainly driven by the maintenance expense of 1.8 million. We're starting to realize some of those expenses where last month's board meeting, we awarded a contract for repairs at the Oak Bluffs Dolphin, Oak Bluffs Dock for some of the pier work. We expect that work to be done in November, December this year. And that was about 1.4 million, that contract. So some of that was just timing. Here's a breakdown of the expenses for September and also January through September. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
It's good. Thanks, Mark.
Okay, thank you.
All right, project updates.
Okay, Mr. Reese is on his way in. He's muted at the moment.
Morning, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
Hey, Mark.
Morning, Mark.
Ed.
Morning.
How's it
Good
going,
morning.
everybody? Morning.
Good morning.
All right, first item we have is update on the Woods Hole Terminal, the Waterside project. So as Bill comes up to show us the progress, essentially Cashman's been working on getting the false work, the sheet piles and the whales and tie rods all set for the South Head Dolphin. And Bill's here, so why don't we just go right into his presentation?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So I'll jump right into the slides here. And so this is a view of this cofferdam for the South Head Dolphin. It's cut, it's all in place and cut. Actually, we're pouring the first lift of concrete this morning. That's a little later on this morning. Go ahead, next slide, Sean. This is the south pier. It's pretty much complete. They're still cleaning the pavers. There's some efflorescence on them. But the canopy is complete. The only thing left, only work left on that south pier is to put the polymeric sand in between the pavers. And that should be done probably later next week. Next one, Sean. This is a view inside the cofferdam. There's tie rods and whales keeping all the sheets in place while we pour the concrete. Next. This is another view just to show you how close this the cofferdam is to the bulkhead. At one point, we had a gangway going out there because all the utilities are going to be on it, and now it's just almost going to be a step, but it's a 26 by 26 square. It's a pretty large cofferdam. This last slide is just a view. I just wanted to give you guys a view of what this is on the north side of the property, and it's a view of what will be Cahoon Park. We've been working with the town on the design for the park, and for once we seem to have a lot of agreement on what it should look like. That's okay. The original contract was about 43 million. Change orders about 13.7 million. Change orders as a percentage is 32%. Total contract price is at total contract price is at 56.7. The waterside cost estimate in 2017 was 53.7. So we're over about 3.2 million.
That wasn't what I posted.
Nor was I when I wrote it, so.
I'll take any questions.
Maybe it was self-evident to everybody else, but what's the purpose of the cofferdam?
Cofferdam is to hold the concrete in place for the South Head Dolphin. So we're going to fill that cofferdam with concrete, and it's the gravity structure. Basically, it's going to act like a big rock for the South Head Dolphin because we couldn't get any penetration through the rock field in that area, Rob.
So does that dolphin, is that connected to the outer side of the cofferdam, or does it get put into the middle of it, or how does that work?
The fender is going to get hung off the concrete. We're going to blank off a space, and it's going to get hung right off the concrete, the face of the concrete. So a portion of that sheet pile is going to get cut away.
Gotcha.
Fender will
Okay.
hang
Understand.
right off.
So this is a way of, this is the workaround for not being able to drive a pile.
Exactly.
And what's the water depth?
I'm sorry, I didn't miss that, Rob.
What's the water depth? I'm just trying to get a sense of how much concrete you got there. That looks like a big boat.
The water depth is around 12 feet on the back. It varies, from the slide, from the slip, it's probably around 17 to 18. And then as you go further south, it comes up to about 12.
Did that require some kind of an adjustment in your permit?
Yes, yeah, we did. We had to get an amendment for that. We've got several, we had to get amendments for we're also putting an anti-scour pad in that area because, again, the sheet piles are only down to about minus 19. All that needed amendments.
Thanks. I obviously have to ask the question on your last slide. Do you have a prediction of where you're going to end up?
I'll let Bob
Yeah.
talk about that one.
Yeah, so we still have.
I mean,
some,
it's my job to ask that question.
Yeah.
I mean, you know it's coming, so.
Yes. Yeah, so we still have some additional work that we're trying to finalize what the plan is going to be. Monopile number 24 still needs to be supported. So we're now coming up, the engineers have now come up with a different plan in which they basically build a smaller version of the cofferdam around between the monopile and those two support piles that were previously put in. So we're going to we need to have our permit amended in order to do that. So we're looking at that. Alternatively, there's a kind of an elaborate structure that they'd be putting between them, and I think the cofferdam is a simplest solution. But and as Bill said, we have the just the materials alone for the anti-scour pad and slip one are in the area. The materials themselves are in the area of about $90,000, and then we have obviously the work to be putting them in place. So and anticipate some additional change orders in that regard. So
For the Dolphin, did you have to do any seabed preparation work?
No, we haven't. We didn't at all. We're pouring the lifts in stages so that it'll come out square, you know, but we have enough whales and tie rods holding the sheets together that we felt we didn't need to do any excavation.
John?
You muted, John.
Thank you. Going back to Rob's question, Bob, could you put a number on how much more we're going to spend? A total
I
estimate?
think, yeah, I think some of it is still up for negotiations with Cashman on that until we know that the engineering solution for monopile 24 is the direction we're going to be going in. You know, I think it's hard to place a number on that at the moment because I think it's a less expensive alternative to be doing, you know, the basically the small version of the cofferdam, but we still need approval for that. So.
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask Bill a question? So Bill, you know me with my maintenance mind, I think about when we're all, you know, hopefully remembered for our efforts someday. What's going to happen with this as far as maintenance? Like, in other words, is this gonna, you know, require like reconstruction? I mean, I'm thinking about drilling and dynamite making holes in the ground, you know, thinking that way. Like, is there going to be some newer rebuild necessary in 50 years? Is this going to, you know, be like typical sheet pile? Like, is this going to be this big cement slab forever or what? How's this going to end up in 50 years?
I imagine we're going to have this cement rock for 50 years, you know, and
That's good. That's good news, by the way.
Yeah.
You know,
overall,
we're
I
making
think
rocks ourselves. I like that.
I think the waterfront is going to be less maintenance oriented than what we had in the past.
Yeah.
You know, the monopiles, once we get them in and get them secure, they're pretty rugged, and you know, you're not going to have piles, wooden piles, you know, breaking and falling into water, and then they're a single entity, so I don't think they'll have as much problems. May have some fender facing that we might, you know, UHMW that we might have to replace when the boats hit hard
Yeah.
or something like that, but the fenders are going to stay in place. They're down.
Yeah.
They're down to minus 100 or better. In some cases, they're not going to move. You know, they're not going to move with any of these boats. So
Because I mean, the thing is this is reminding me of what happened at the Big Dig I had a friend of mine that was working there that lived here and went to work there, and all they found was big stones hitting stuff. No one knew, it's crazy. So this here, I mean, I'm looking at this as like, this is the modern rebuild of something that we can't predict what's going to happen. And the fact that there's been solutions sort of as we go, I mean, we should be, pretty happy about that. Like no one's ever said we can't do something at this job. Like we're done, we got to move the slip somewhere else or something like that. They've come up with ways to figure it out. So I see this as, positive because of the conditions that we knew were there. So thank you for the update.
It's also not only for the conditions that are there, but the engineers and the architects have planned for what as climate changes and sea level rise to be able to address those issues as well. So there's some forethought put into some of the design work that they had to do.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so if no other questions for Bill, in terms of the terminal project itself, we've sent out 171 community emails about the project at this point. The last few of those have included that on Thursday, this Thursday, tomorrow, November 4th at 5 p.m. We'll be holding a community engagement session, which corresponds to roughly the 40% design development of the building in the utility building, as well as the work that's been done, the work that will need to be done in terms of the shore side, bringing that up to elevation and that. So that'll be held tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. via Zoom. All right, so if no one has any questions on that, I'll ask Angela Sampson to come up and give us a brief update on the SQMS project.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Angela.
So the SQMS consultants continue to review the SOM. They'll be reaching out to the various stakeholders as they do have clarifying questions about their feedback that they were given. And the consultants have also requested to have a meeting with Bob to conduct a status update and report. Happy to take any questions.
Great. Any questions for Angela?
Will we
Thank
be
you,
getting
Angela.
that?
Oh,
Oop,
Go ahead,
I'm sorry. After that meeting with Bob, we'll be getting a written update of where the project is going.
So what normally happens is we do get repeated updates that are in written report form from the consultants. So we always know where we are in terms of what phase we're in of the project, and if there's any challenges to the project or if we're running smoothly. So we do get frequent updates from them.
You can distribute those to the Port Council and board as well.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
thanks, Angela.
All right, so next, it's on here for the website. So Sean will come around.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Sean.
So as you probably remember, the bids were opened on August 16th, 2021, and we received 16 proposals for the project, which was quite a few. And we took about 2 months to review as a project team and score each proposal. We met twice in person to review and jointly evaluate each of those proposals. And then following the opening of the financial documents, the team selected ADK Group of Boston as the proponent whose proposal was most advantageous to the authority. They're Boston-based, as I mentioned, so they've got familiarity with us and our operations. They provided a lot of good examples, including in the travel sector, that were analogous to the project that we've got on hand. Really gave an excellent presentation and qualifications, and they were consistently at or near the top of everybody's list as we went through this process. Their reference checks and financial checks came out without any issues, so we presented that to the board at their October meeting, and they voted to authorize Bob to execute that contract. One of the things they did ask was that we work with outside legal counsel to review the terms of that contract, since it's sort of a specialized field. So Terry and I have been working with an outside firm to do that, and that's in process right now. So we should hopefully have that contract ready to go here in the next week or so. So happy to take any questions.
What's the timeline again, Sean, on how long does it take to do the scope?
Sure, it's about, they're calling for about a year. I mean, we may tweak that a little bit just for operational needs, because we don't want to launch. There are certain periods of time during the year we wouldn't want to launch a website, you know, especially particularly close to the internet general openings in January, that kind of thing. But they were calling for a start this month and then to be launching in, you know, mid to late fall of next year. So roughly a year for the website and app both.
John?
Thank you, Ed. Sean, it would be great if we could get screenshots along the way, sort of a storyboard of how we're going forward with this. Is that feasible?
Yeah, they didn't provide any of that as part of their bid. We didn't ask for that in the RFP, but as we go through the visioning process with them, that'll be part of my monthly updates, just to bring you guys up to speed with where that is.
Good. And then a follow-up is, have you decided like allocating certain money for the website versus certain money for smart devices?
Yeah, the split between the bids was, or the grant was 1.25 million for the website and 750,000 for the app, give or take. I mean, those aren't necessarily hard numbers, but that's roughly where we split things when we put it on the tip, because it's federal grant money. So that's how it was roughly allocated.
Okay, thank you.
Mark?
This is a question on the bidding process. In addition to them being the best qualified, where were they in terms of their monetary presentation? Were they the lowest?
No.
Okay.
But the RFP process doesn't call for us to go for the lowest bidder. It's the most advantageous to the authority. So that's why we rank them first based on their presentation without the financials. Then we open the financials and we determine if the person we like, for example, was $1 million more than the second choice, that might reevaluate how we ranked them. But they came in, I don't have the exact figure with me, but it was less than $1,000 off of our second choice. So they were, and a lot of them were grouped in that like 1.85 to 1.95 million range in total. But they were not the lowest bidder, but that's not necessarily what the standard is.
Were there, what do they call that when somebody files not a
A bid
complaint,
protest?
Bid protest, or any bid protest?
Not to date, no.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Sean, any initial issues with the contract? That you had to
No,
go
I mean,
outside to get advice on that?
They provided a draft statement of work and a master services agreement, and we're going through it now. So
Nothing earth shattering.
not that I'm aware of, but that's why I have my lawyer, Mr. Keneally, doing that for me.
Thanks.
And he has his lawyer doing it for him. So
Any other questions for Sean? Thank you, Sean.
all right, thank you.
All right. Dry dock for the
Yeah.
vineyard.
So we'll have Mark Amundson come up and show you the last of the slides for the Martha's Vineyard.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Mark.
Excuse me, so we're well into our repair season now. Martha's Vineyard is just come off the dry dock this past, excuse me, Monday, and this is a picture of the forward area. And this is, excuse me, side profile. This is a photo of the keel coolers on the underside. We have a new anode system that we've placed in to get some better protection.
What's the keel cooler do?
Yeah,
Keel cooler is, it's a cooling for the main engines. Rather than having an inboard heat exchanger, this is external to the hull.
Got it.
We've done quite a bit of steel work on inside on the freight deck. This is the last piece. We probably have done about 3 tons of steel in total on the freight deck, and we've finished this up now and the decks have been coated. So we're just finishing up the final docking. She's going to transit back to Fairhaven on Sunday. This is a photograph of the port propeller, which we drew just for new cutlass bearings and polishing. So the dry dock highlights, we put a new fuel oil purifier installation, freight deck structural steel renewal and blast and coating of the freight deck, along with the statutory dry dock requirements of the U.S. Coast Guard. So contract to date, the main contract was 1.42 million. We've had $328,000 in credits, 265,000 in change orders. So right now we're at 1.36 million, and we look to be right in line with our budget. Any questions?
Good job, Mark. Any questions for Mark?
Thank you very much, everyone.
Looks good,
Thank you,
Mark.
Mark.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, so the next item we have on here is the proposed 2022 reservation only dates on the Martha's Vineyard route. So you might as well come up to just in case there's any questions. Angela will be coming up, but basically in your packet, we're proposing some changes to the reservation only dates on the Martha's Vineyard route. As you may recall, earlier this year in the summer, we came and requested to be able to extend the reservation only dates into the fall following some traffic congestion issues in Woods Hole regarding the on non-reservation only days. We've extended that. The board council and the board both approved that. We extended that this past fall. We feel it's been helpful. We have looked at the schedule for next year, and we had similar issues earlier at the early part of the summer last year as well. So the proposal that we have here is to extend the reservation only dates and basically make it for the summer schedule. And it would be for Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays from May 20th to October 24th. In addition to that, there's some additional dates. May 26th and 31st is the Memorial Day weekend. June 28th, 29th, and 30th, which is leading up into the 4th of July weekend. And again, following 4th of July, the 5th, 6th, and 7th. And we typically have that week of 4th of July, we typically make that a reservation only day. We have August 23rd, which is a big get off the island day every year. And then September 6th because of the Labor Day holiday. So As part of that, we would be proposing that in the shoulder portions of that that schedule, the reservation only dates, that the reservation office be open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. But during the height of the summer season, it would be the 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. schedule that we typically have. In your packet, we've included the calendar that has the when we'd be doing the Head Start program, when we'd be opening up for reservations for each island, and some significant dates of interest on the calendar. So typically when we've done these most recently, it's been for informational purposes, but because we do feel it's appropriate to expand these reservation only dates to try to mitigate any traffic concerns in the Seoul, we felt it was appropriate that it be up for a vote. So. Angela, our reservation manager, is here if you have any questions or concerns about that.
Are we going to be publicizing this so people would know what's going to be happening in the traveling?
Yes.
Yeah, we do put out a calendar. It will be on our website. Any literature that we end up putting out will identify reservation only dates on this run.
As well as the e-news.
Yeah, e-news, social media. Yeah.
And if we wanted to change our reservation, we'd have to do that either online or by calling.
Correct.
Correct. Okay, Mark?
Yeah, I just have a question. What's the Head Start program? I'm just curious.
Head Start is for, if you're in the excursion or the preferred program, you are eligible to make reservations prior to the general public. You can get 5 reservations per qualifying resident. They can either be round trip or one way. Of those 5 reservations, you can make 3 of them transferable. So, say you wanted your son to come visit you in August, you could make that reservation for him in advance of the reservations opening to the general public. Or if you have a doctor's appointment that that you're going to have, or any of that type of nature. That way it gives the people that live on the islands a little bit of an opportunity to make reservations before they go out to everybody else.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. John?
Angela, thank you. What about if we do this for reservation only days, does it affect any of the excursion spaces?
No.
Okay.
Nat, did you have a question?
No, this is a vineyard issue. I don't ask too many questions about the vineyard, so you'll notice.
All right. Any other questions for Angela or Bob?
Good.
Do I have? You need you want to vote, right, Bob?
We prefer a vote, yes.
Do I have a motion to approve the proposed 2022 reservation only dates?
I'll make
So
that.
moved.
Seconded.
All right. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Lowell, I.
Reese, aye.
Cahill, aye.
Salito, aye.
In here, I.
Washburn, aye. All right. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you. All right.
Third space.
So as Allison comes up to the table, this is something that came up early, was an issue earlier in the year, and about preferred space. So Allison has been looking into it, so I'll turn it over to her.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Good, Allison, how are you?
Good. So following a recent request to increase the amount of preferred space for island residents, the staff have reviewed the daily allocations for preferred spaces on all routes and consider the total overall amount of preferred spaces allocated throughout the year. Sorry, just lost my place. Distribution of total preferred spaces between those available 7-day versus the 1-day in advanced days and departures, and the distribution of preferred spaces initially designated as overheight preferred spaces. Also, the distribution of regular and overheight preferred space among scheduled trips throughout the operating day. Currently on the Vineyard route, we have 120 preferred spaces per day are set aside during the summer schedule, 124 on the shoulder season, and 112 preferred spaces for the fall and winter. All 3 seasons, there's always 90 spaces going back to the island. The authority's current policy for unsold preferred spaces are as followed. 7-day preferred spaces become available to the general public 3 days in advance of booking. The unsold 1-day preferred space becomes available to the general public at noon the day before. We also did look at how far in advance our reservations are booked for the 7 days. And it shows that 7 days prior, 33.6% of them are booked, up to 3 days prior, which is less than 3.5%. 1 day prior or less is 79% booked. From the above table, approximately 40% of the 7-day preferred spaces remained available to booking 4 days before the departure date. Of the remaining available 7-day preferred spaces, 22% of those spaces were leased and eventually sold to the general public. We've recently increased the number of preferred spaces on trips. That is also included freight boats as well, when we were able to do it. Nantucket, currently, the authority is offering preferred space on its early morning departure from Nantucket and its late afternoon and evening trips departing from Hyannis. Staff is currently seeking public feedback from islanders to determine whether increase in the number of preferred spaces will effectively afford more travel opportunities to the islanders. So we're looking at adding on to other trips as well. The staff is, in light of all this above information, the staff is recommending that 1, all unused preferred spaces on the Vineyard Road, both 7 and 1 day, be available for the general public at noon the day before, which is changing the 7-day preferred release date, and the availability of preferred space in the Nantucket route be increased from its current early morning departure from Nantucket and its late afternoon and evening departures from Hyannis. Both of these changes will provide islanders and residents with more scheduling options and flexibility. Any questions?
Mr.
If
Chair,
I
can I
may
just
po-
ask Allison? Oh, sorry. No, go ahead, Joe. Joe, go ahead.
I'm just gonna ask now, that 7 day is now till noon on the day before? Did I hear that?
So what
correctly?
happens is we've always had the 7-day preferred and the 1-day preferred. And in the beginning, the 7-day preferred, it would stay on the books until 3 days prior, and then it would be put into the general public. Now it's going to stay until noon the day before
Okay,
departure.
that's the question.
So it
Thank you.
actually, in theory, increases the 1 days.
And actually, if you may recall, back in July, we came to the Port Council and to the board. Actually, it may have been the Port Council in August, but the board in July. And we suspended the program for those spaces to be available to the general public until the 1 day before, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, just, Allison, when you say the returns from Hyannis and the late trips, do you mean that's the return from, like, the excursion return from the
Yes.
Nantucket side? Okay, I'm
Yes.
like, I'm sorry, I
That's
knew
okay.
I knew the answer, but it sounded, I just
Little
had to
off.
ask that question.
Nope.
So, no, that's good. I just appreciate you guys looking at, the whole, as Flint would say, we've always done it that way. We've always had the preferred spaces on the 6:30 Eagle just because, like, no one ever really ever said anything that I know of in the 17 years I've been sitting here. I've never even heard it brought up before for any boat other than the 6:30.
Right, and if you
So
look at the,
that's good to do that. If you guys look at the summertime, 9:15, 2:45, off-season, noon and 5:30, that is, because people's appointments sometimes, you know, they go overnight and then they go to their appointment the next morning. So they don't have to go away at 6:30 in the morning. They can go away at 5:30, you know what I mean? So
And
that's,
that's why when you look at the graph, you'll see that we're adding it into almost all the trips for you guys coming off.
Yeah,
and going back
just a
to the-
few. We don't need many,
Oh.
just, and then
Just
it can
two here
get
and there.
adjusted in a year or something after that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You might find that the 6:30 might be less popular, depending upon how this shakes out, you know, so. So thank you very much for that.
Ed, can I
Thanks,
ask a
Ed.
question?
Eric?
Yeah. I understand the, having the spaces preferred up to the last minute. Do you anticipate any problems filling those and after the fact, if they're not taken by the preferred folks?
So what happens is after noon the day before, if they've not been used, then they go back into the general pool for everybody else to book on. But as of now, 79% of the 1-day preferred spaces have been used up. So it's a lot of last minute, I've noticed, travelers as opposed to planning it out. Plus, we also use some of the preferred spaces with medicals for Islanders as well, so.
Okay, so we're not having vacancy spots on the boats?
No,
because of-
no.
Okay.
Nope,
all right,
absolutely not.
Great, thank you.
We will continue to monitor it. Previously, the reason that there was that 3-day, in advance borrow down feature was because we had noticed that at that time that there was a lot of unused space being set aside for preferreds that wasn't being used. And in the day of sailing, customers that are not profiled to be able to use that space were coming down and finding out there was space available. So I think the pendulum has kind of swung back at this point. Our plan would be to continue to monitor this and see whether we need to make an adjustment, because obviously we don't want to be, if we have space available, we want to make it available for our customers as soon as possible. So
Sounds good, thank you.
Any other questions?
This is just an update. This isn't a action item, right, Bob? Or
no, we would like a vote of the Port Council.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the changes made by staff for the preferred space program. Is that correct? Motion, Bob?
Yes.
Okay.
Second,
All right, any discussion? I'll take a roll call vote, please.
Reese, yes.
Lowell, aye.
Lanier, aye.
Sorry.
Cahill, aye.
Salito, I.
Shufelt, aye.
Washburn, aye. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you, Allison.
Just readjusting.
All right, so next we have the 2022 parking permit renewals. And again, Allison can explain what's going on here.
Throughout the 2021, the Nantucket route has seen an overall influx in the sales of parking permits, most notably the Yarmouth Road lot. In 2020, there were a total of 339 permits sold, and in 2021, 372 parking permits sold. That was an increase of 33%. The most common complaint with permit holders is due to the space limitation. They're not always able to park their cars at the Yarmouth lot and must park at the Brooks Road lot which is further away from the terminal. The Yarmouth Road lot has 253 marked spaces. The space limitation are caused by seasonal Nantucket customers that purchase a yearly permit because it is discounted rate and is more affordable. In order to ensure the year-round residents are able to park at the Yarmouth Road lot, staff is proposing a limit to the number of permits available for purchase for the Yarmouth Road lot. The number of parking permits available for the Yarmouth Road lot would be capped at 300, a 19% increase over the total number of marked parking spots available beginning in 2022. Year-round island residents will have first access to these permits, and the current permit rate is $750. the creation of a seasonal summer permit for the Brooks Road parking lot, which would enable the permit holder to park at the Yarmouth Road lot from 1/1 to 6/14, Brooks Road from 6/15 to 9/14, and then back at the Yarmouth Road from 9/15 to 12/31. The proposed permit rate for the Brooks Road lot would be $700. Please note the daily fee to parking at Brooks Road from June to September is $15 per calendar day. By doing this additional permit option, space will be kept available for year-round residents at the Yarmouth lot while still allowing seasonal residents a discounted rate for parking. And there are no recommended changes for the permit parking at the Vineyard Route. The staff is recommending setting a limit of the number of Yarmouth Road parking permits available for purchase beginning in 2022 to 300 permits, and year-round island residents will have first access to these permits. In addition, the staff is recommending a seasonal summer permit for the Brooks Road lot, which would enable the permit holders to park at the Yarmouth Road lot from 1/1 to 6/14, Brooks Road from 6/15 to 9/14, and then back at the Yarmouth Road for the rest of the year. No changes are recommended for the Vineyard Route parking permits. Any
Mr.
questions?
Chair.
Yeah,
Hi.
please.
Ed. Yeah, Allison, thank you so much for this. I just have a kind of a note. So do you feel, oh God, do you feel 6/14 is too late? Or, I mean, I know you gotta think 2/19 versus 2021. It's like hard to do. I think this spring was a little bit of a fluke still. I think there was a lot of people that just showed up early that caused the disaster that happened, a little earlier than normal. I think that you're probably looking at 2022 as like, okay, a little more like 2019, spread out. School gets out roughly around what, the 18th of June.
Yep.
In that area. That's when we traditionally have been bombarded for 2 weeks, which is totally normal. But this year was in the end of May to that time, like it was added.
Everyone was
So
zooming, everything else.
do you think that it needs to be 6/14 for a trial run and then see maybe if it needs to move to 5 to the middle of May? I don't know. I'm just asking what you think.
I mean, right now, we're basically basing this on the school schedules and whatnot, because right now, schools are back in session. So the kids
Yeah.
aren't Zooming anymore. And that's, I
Yeah.
think, what caused a lot of the issues was people are Zooming so they can go and,
They just came early.
right.
Yeah.
Well, if my kids aren't going into school, I can just bring them to Nantucket and have them take classes there.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're right. It's still, nobody knows yet until it happens, but I think you're right. I love what we're doing. This is a big step to fix this issue with locals going away randomly, picking up their car, going, doing whatever they're doing, come back and they can't park anymore.
right.
And they don't expect that to happen, and then they have to scramble, and then they miss the boat, and they gotta go on a different boat, wait for the next fast boat to get home, and they got their stuff and their kids, and they're just, it's just like, this is good. As long as they can go into that lot without having a no soup for you, that is fantastic. So thank you very much.
No soup.
I will point out that typically, pre-COVID, the Brooks Road lot, we used that on Memorial Day weekend, and then there was usually a couple weeks lag before we ended up going out there again for the season, so.
Yeah. So that kind of answers the point, Bob, right? 2019 was, if we had this program in 2019, it would have worked. Right? I mean, in your mind. So do you think, Alice, I don't mean to keep asking questions, but this is a very important thing. So the complaints we can't fix the problem when people complain about this. It's like unfixable. So now that we're fixing it, we have something we can say, Rob and I, and that's really important. So
Right.
did more seasonal residents pull permits? I'm
It's
talking about
hard to-
year-round permits.
Right. It's hard to get the exact number because a lot of them were buying the year-round permit because it was in fact cheaper to do it that
Yeah.
way. And I think
And they
that's
go
what the
back and
increased
forth a
number
lot.
was.
There's so many people. I have a friend of mine that I went to high school with that has a house here now. And he must go back and forth to his home away 40 times a year, maybe
Right.
more, probably 50. It's different. Locals might use their car 5 times a year sometimes. It's just a completely different thing. So I think this is good. They're not gonna care if they're parked at Brooks Road because they're not thinking like, you know what I mean? They're not moving, they're not
They're looking
doing the
at
same
what's cheaper.
stuff. It's just a shuttle for them. It's not the same situation. So.
And they're looking at where it's going to save them a few dollars by buying a permit versus buying a daily pass. So
This is no different than what we did with the fast boat commuter books. When that got popular, all of a sudden the seasonal person was buying 10 books at the end of March or 5, using them for their kids, using them for, you know what I mean? And this is kind of what's happened with the parking, just a different issue, but similar. So, sorry, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is good stuff. Thank you.
All right. Bob, we need a vote on this?
Yes, please.
Make a motion to approve the changes from staff for the parking permit renewals for 2022. I guess that's the right motion.
Second,
All right, roll call. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Reese, yes.
You're right.
Cahill, yes.
Solito, yes.
Shufelt, aye.
Washburn, aye. Ned, did you vote?
Yes. Oh, Lowell, I sorry, I made the motion. I forgot. Sorry. I'm thinking about other things now. It's so many calls this morning.
All
Where are you
right,
gonna
Bob.
park your,
Thanks,
where are you
Allison.
gonna park your car, Nat?
Yeah,
Jeez.
you got a lot of options now.
Oh,
All right, Bob. Treasurer's report?
Yeah, I didn't, we just put this on there in case you had any questions for Mark, like putting him on the hot seat.
just
I think we're good.
thank
Any
you.
questions for Mark?
None here.
All right, any old or new business?
The only thing I'd like to point out is a week from tomorrow is Veterans Day. And as many of you will recall, the board with the Port Council's recommendation approved the policy that veterans and active duty personnel are able to travel as passengers for free on Veterans Day. So a little bit to honor those that have served our country. So a week from tomorrow, November 11th.
Or do they have to show identification or you just take them at their word?
They're supposed to show an ID to do it, but and then they have to go into the ticket office and they get a separate ticket.
Ed?
Yep, Eric?
Yeah, just to let the committee know, on October 24th, I sent a letter to the Town of Barnstable Appointments Committee and the Town Council that I'm going to be resigning from the committee at the end of this year. I'll get more into that. I will be at the next meeting and we can go from there. I have spoken with Bob Davis briefly about it and just wanted to let you folks know, and then we can work on things in the December meeting.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Eric. You just started to figure everything out. Takes a long time.
Well, I've had a great time. I really have. I've learned a lot. So, but like I said, I'll leave more of those to the December meeting, and I can say goodbye to everybody at that point. How's that?
Fair enough. You couldn't go on without me. Hi, Eric.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be the same.
All right,
So
well, that's,
Eric, as I mentioned on the phone, we appreciate your contributions to the authority and to the Port Council and, again, it's a thankless job and we appreciate all the hard work that our Port Council and board members do on behalf of the authority. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We'll have more discussion on December. I'll have a little more to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
fair enough. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
All right, any other old or new business? Any items not reasonably anticipated by myself? Any public comment?
Don't see any.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
All right, any discussion? I'll take a roll call.
Reese, aye.
roll eye.
Here, I.
J-Ho, aye.
Salito, aye.
Shufelt, aye.
Washburn, aye. All right, thanks, everybody.
We're out.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Take
See you
care.
later.
Happy
Take care.
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Have a great
Yeah, have a
Thanksgiving.
good Thanksgiving.
Bye now.